Hi, Adams. Happy Tuesday. We are going to continue learning about immigration, and we're going to talk about how immigrants' life was after Ellis Island. So, we're going to talk about deportation, and this is when people were not allowed in the United States and they were sent back to their country. That's called deportation. Now, most immigrants that came to America, they were allowed in. For every 100 immigrants that were let in, 2 people were sent back. So most people were allowed in, but for those that were not, this could be very upsetting. Sometimes families were separated, and it was really sad to have to return home with basically nothing. Remember, these people sold their belongings to afford this ticket, and now they're coming home empty-handed. Now, when they entered America, they had a couple choices they had to make. So they had to figure out where are they going to go. So they could purchase a train ticket to wherever they wanted to go if they can afford it in the United States, or they could purchase a ferry ticket, and a ferry was like a smaller ship, and this would be to New York or to New Jersey. And before they did this, they had to exchange their own money from home for US dollars because you can't spend another country's money in the United States. They had to exchange it for our money, which is dollars. So some challenges they had. Their life was not easy. They had to find homes, they had to find jobs. Many of them still didn't speak English. And I know they came to America with hopes that they would have great jobs with better pay, but many of them worked very long hours and they didn't get paid much. And they also lived in some really bad conditions. So they lived in these really small apartment buildings that are called tenements. And because so many of the immigrants stayed in New York City because it was cheaper than traveling elsewhere, these neighborhoods filled up really, really quickly. So all of these small apartment buildings were jam-packed with families. They were overcrowded, they were dark, and they were very noisy because there's so much going on in such a small amount of space. Most of these tenements didn't have electricity, they didn't have running water, and again, the rooms were very crowded. As you can see in this picture, there's like 3 or 4 beds in that one tiny room. There were families of 10 or more that were crammed into a small apartment, and the buildings were very close together. And this ultimately became very uncomfortable for these people and also very unsafe because, it's never safe to be that close quarters. There were probably bugs and animals and easy to start a fire with so much stuff in such a small space. And imagine if a fire did catch in one of those tenements. As I saw in this picture here, go ahead and look at all those windows. If a fire were to start in a tenement, then a lot of other people could be in danger. Okay, your questions today. Number 1 is true or false. Most immigrants were sent home when they arrived on Ellis Island. Most. So think about, were most of them allowed to come in or were most of them sent home? 2, what choice did immigrants have to make when they first entered America? So what did they have to decide before they could leave Ellis Island? Number 3, why did immigrants have to exchange their money? Number 4, name one challenge for immigrants in America. Number 5, what are tenements? Number 6, what would it feel like to live in a tenement with many other people? And number 7, immigrants always had electricity and water in their homes. True or false? All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. We will see you tomorrow. Goodbye, Adams.